My name is Florence. I'm 30 years old. When I was 19, I had nothing, no money, no help, and no plan. But I was ready to work hard. I grew up in a small village. My father was a driver, my mother stayed at home. We didn't have much, but we were close. I finished school at 18. I wanted to study more, maybe go to college. But we couldn't afford it. My father looked at me one day and said, "I'm sorry, Florence. We cannot help." I smiled, but my heart sank. That night, I packed a small bag, one dress, a little money, and a lot of hope, and I left for the city. I didn't know anyone there. I had no job, no plan. But I knew I wanted to work. I wanted to build a life. The first night in the city was hard. I stayed in a small room, cold, with one bed, one chair, and nothing else. I lay down and whispered, "This is the start." The next morning, I walked around the streets asking for work. I visited shops and cafes. Most people said no. Some didn't even look at me. I was tired, hungry, and scared. But I didn't stop. That evening, I saw a sign outside a small hotel. It said, "Receptionist wanted. English required." I walked in. A serious-looking man stood behind the desk. I said, "Hello, I want to ask about the job." He looked up. "Do you have experience?" "No," I replied. "But I want to learn." "Can you speak English?" "A little," I said. "I'm still learning." He stared at me for a few seconds. Then he said, "Come tomorrow at 8 a.m. I'll try you for 1 week." I went back to my small room. I sat on the bed and smiled. Then I cried. Not from sadness, but because someone had given me a chance. I woke early the next morning and wore my clean dress. I reached the hotel before 8. I cleaned the desk. I watched the other staff closely. I smiled at every guest. I listened carefully to how they spoke. I didn't know many words. I wrote new ones in a small notebook. At night, I repeated them over and over. The work was hard. I stood all day. I opened doors. Gave out room keys. Answered phones. Cleaned the lobby. Some guests were kind, some weren't. I smiled anyway. After 5 days, the manager called me into his office. He said, "You're quiet, but you work well. You can stay." I said, "Thank you. I will do my best." I worked 6 days a week. Morning to night. No breaks. I was always on time. I saved every coin. I sent money home, enough for rice and clothes. After 3 months, I got a raise. Just $20 more, but it felt huge. My father called me and said, "We are proud of you, Florence." I smiled for a long time. I kept learning. I watched how guests spoke. I practiced my English after work. One day, a woman came to the hotel. She wore a nice dress and looked confident. She was the new HR manager. After watching me for a week, she called me over. "You're good at your job," she said. "Do you want to learn more?" "Yes," I replied. "I want to learn." She smiled. "I will teach you." After my shift, I sat with her. She showed me how to write emails, how to use the office computer, how to type, and send reports. I made mistakes. I said sorry. I kept trying. 6 months later, she gave me a new job. I was no longer just a receptionist. I now helped in the HR office. I had more responsibilities and better pay. I worked Monday to Friday. I used weekends to rest and learn. I joined free English classes on Saturdays. My teacher said, "You're a good student, Florence." That made me proud. 2 years passed. The hotel got a new manager. He reviewed every employee. My name came up often. He called me in and said, "You started as a receptionist. Now you help in HR. We want you to lead the front desk team." I was shocked. I hesitated. Then I said, "Yes, sir. I'll try." That night, I couldn't sleep. I looked at my hands and whispered, "Florence, you did this. You came here with nothing. And now, you're leading a team." My new job wasn't easy. I trained new staff. I told them, always smile. Always listen. Always be kind. Some didn't like me. Some thought I was too young. But I stayed calm. One day, a guest said, "You're a very good worker." That small compliment meant the world. I called my mother and said, "Mama, I have a new job." She replied, "You are smart, my girl. You work with heart." Life slowly got better. I had a soft bed. A small TV. Food in the kitchen. A phone. Clean clothes. Peace. I looked at my hands again. These hands had built my life. I still had more to do, but I had come far, from a scared girl to a strong woman. Then came Amy. She was new, always late, and unsure. One day, I sat with her and asked, "Are you okay?" She said, "I don't think I'm good enough." I saw myself in her eyes. I said, "I started just like you. You can grow too. But you have to believe in yourself." From that day, she came on time. She smiled more. She tried harder. I was proud, not just of myself, but of my team. The manager noticed. "Your team is doing well," he said. "I want you to help train new staff." So I did. Every week, I taught new workers how to smile, speak, and stay calm. My grammar wasn't perfect, but I spoke with heart. One day, a big group from Canada arrived. They spoke fast. Asked many questions. Some staff were scared. I stayed with the group, helped them check in, answered their questions, even when I was tired. One woman said, "You are very kind. And your English is good." I replied, "Thank you. I'm still learning." Later, the manager said, "Florence, the guests were happy. You are ready for more." I didn't know what more meant, but I said, "I'm ready." 2 weeks later, the HR head offered me a new role, assistant front office manager. That night, I called my father. "Papa, they gave me a new job." He was quiet, then said, "Florence, you make us proud. You are a strong woman." The job was hard. More reports, more meetings, more problems to solve. I felt tired. I doubted myself. But then I remembered where I began. I said, "Keep going." I started saving. I opened a bank account. My dream was to fix my parents' house. The roof leaked. The walls had holes. After 1 year, I saved enough. I called a builder and sent the money. When I saw the photos of the new house, I cried. It had clean walls. A strong roof. My mother said, "Now we sleep well." No rain comes in. That was the best day of my life. I worked at the hotel for 8 years. Every year, I grew a little more. Then one day, the general manager said, "Florence, we're opening a new hotel in another city. We want you to lead the front office there." I was shocked. "Me?" He smiled. "Yes. You have the right skills." So I moved. I packed my bags and said goodbye. My team gave me a card. On it, they wrote, "You made us believe in ourselves." Thank you, Florence. That made me cry. In the new city, things were bigger, harder, faster. But I stayed steady. One day, a 19-year-old girl named Bella joined. She said, "I have no experience. I'm scared." I smiled. "I started like you. Just work hard. Step by step, you'll grow." That night, I sat in my new room, holding a cup of tea. I looked out at the bright lights. I whispered, "You didn't give up, Florence. That's why you're here." I wasn't rich. I wasn't famous. But I had something I built myself, with heart, with time, with work. One morning, my mother called. "Florence, your father is not well." My heart dropped. I rushed home. He looked tired, weak. I took him to the hospital. Paid for his care. Stayed 2 weeks. Gave him his medicine. Helped him walk. Cooked. Cleaned. He held my hand and said, "I remember when you were small. Now you take care of me." I smiled. "You helped me first, Papa. Now it's my turn." Back at work, we had a big event. A guest from the head office asked to meet the best staff. My manager gave him my name. I was nervous, but I answered his questions. He said, "I heard you started as a receptionist. That's very special." 2 months later, I got an email, an invitation to speak at a company event. I wanted to say no. My English was simple. But then I thought of girls like Bella. Maybe my story could help them. So I said yes. I wrote my story in simple words. I practiced in front of the mirror. The day came. My hands shook. My heart raced. I stood on stage and said, "Hello. My name is Florence. This is my story." I spoke of the village. The small room. The first job. The struggles. The smiles. My team. My parents. My papa's hand. When I finished, the room was silent, then filled with claps. People stood. Some had tears. One woman said, "Your story gave me hope. Now, I travel once a month to train staff in other hotels. I share my story. I listen to theirs. I offer simple tips. I never say, 'You must.' I say, 'This helped me.' I meet many people, young, old, tired, unsure. To them I say, 'Don't give up. You are stronger than you think.' And I believe that, because I was once that girl, with one dress and a little money. Now I stand with dignity, not because I had help, not because I had luck, but because I worked, I waited, and I believed. This is my life. Built with my own hands. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.